Hello, everybody. This is Israel Epstein coming at you with one of my talking head videos. I don't actually do this very often. You can see on my channel that I don't spend a lot of time just talking about things other than guns or growing vegetables and whatnot. But I wanted to bring something to your attention today that I'm sure all of you are already aware of, but it kind of hit me hard last night because me and one of my buddies was sitting down and we've just came across, I was reading a news article, and I like to look at the comments on news articles, to see what people are saying about it. And some guy had a comment that said, "You need to watch this video." So I decided, okay, well, I like to do that. So I went and checked out this video, and I'm going to put a link to the video on the screen and also down below. And the video, you can find it on Vimeo right now. That is free to watch. I'm not sure if they're going to charge money for it later, but it is free to watch right now, and I encourage you to definitely check it out. It'll blow out your corn box. This video is called Agenda, Grinding America Down. And it's nothing new, but it really was pretty powerfully presented. And it talks about how the communists, the liberals, the progressives in our society are tenacious, and they have a long-term strategy, and they've been working it since the 1950s. And I know that we all look around and we look at our country and we see that it seems to be coming unzipped, and our politicians are all liars and flakes, and they never do what they say they're going to do, and you can't trust any of them. And, the country just seems to be coming unzipped. People just are stunned at how fast the country appears to be just disintegrating. The moral fabric is just coming undone. And this film is a documentary about the socialist, communist, progressive agenda that the left has for this country. And it's pretty insidious. It's absolutely brilliant and incredibly effective. And it's going according to plan, and it's working very well. And whenever you watch one of these things, the message is, well, here's what your liberal opponents are doing. They're infiltrating your schools and your courts and your politicians and your religious institutions, and they're tearing apart your families, and they're breaking down your religious beliefs, and they're getting God out of the society, and it's becoming terrible, and homosexuality is rampant, and promiscuity and pornography and all this other stuff. And and then they tell you, what you should do, and, get out there and organize, and, go and vote, be a minor agitator or something like that. I'm here to say that I think it's too late. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't, stand up and fight for my freedoms in this country, but I think that it's actually too late, and that they have progressed too far, and there's no turning back. And I also wanted to share with you I watched this last night, and then I woke up this morning, and this thought popped into my head. And it's religious, and it's from the book of Numbers, with the story of Balaam and Balak. And I'll just recount that story for you briefly, where the children of Israel had left Egypt and were moving towards the Promised Land, and some of the inhabitants of the areas, which is what is now Saudi Arabia, the Midianite kings, saw the Israelites coming from a distance and were like, "This sucks, we're going to get overrun." And they contacted a spiritualist, a person who is reputed to be able to talk to the gods, named Balaam. And they said, "We want you to contact the gods, or a god, or any god, or the most powerful god. We hear that you have a reputation of being able to do that. And he wants you to ask this God, or any God you can get a hold of, to curse this people. Put a curse on them. And Balaam tried to do that, but it didn't work, because God actually spoke up to Balaam and said, you cannot curse these people. They are my people. They are under my protection. And so later on in the story, we learn that they came up with an alternate plan, and it worked. The people were under God's protection, and they could not be harmed by their enemies. And what they decided to do was to get the people from inside. It was an inside job. Okay, what we got to do is send out some of our big-breasted women holding mugs of beer and strong liquor and invite them to a party and get them to leave their God, get them to walk away from their God on their own, so that you will bring them out from under his protection, and then he'll destroy them, or they'll destroy themselves. That worked like a champ. And thus you have the story of the Baal of Peor, where the Midianites sent out a bunch of beautiful women and a bunch of food and drink, and they had a big party. And the people of Israel, a bunch of them, got involved and said, yeah, this is great. There's some good looking women. It looks like a good time. Let's get into this. I'm down on this. Let's do this. This sounds like a good time. And they did it. And God punished them, and a bunch of people died. Now, here in America, I see a similarity to that, because the communists and the liberals and the socialists and these progressives, they know that they could not win in this country unless they tear it apart from the inside. America was too strong militarily, and so they made a plan to infiltrate it from the inside out and destroy it by rot from within. And it worked beautifully. And the progressions that they've made have been rapid in the last 50 years. I know you all know it. I know a bunch of you, not a bunch of you, but a bunch of people will say, no, the world is not any more evil than it's always been, or, nothing is different. It's always been the same. And the biggest argument is, well, it's always been the same, but you didn't know about it because it wasn't published everywhere. Now we have instant media, and now you're just being made aware of it. It wasn't any different then than it is now. You just know about it now because it's published all over in newspapers and in the media and in the TV and the internet. That's just not true. I just refuse to believe that. The society has changed, and very, very rapidly, and very, very profoundly. And I don't think we can save it. And I would like your comments and suggestions on what do you do when these people have so thoroughly infiltrated your society to where your children are being turned into sheep. They are being taught things that just teach them that they're not individuals, they're part of a group. You can't do anything on your own. Don't stand up for yourself. Certainly don't stand up for anything that might be considered a moralistic type of view, because you'll get your head cut off. Not literally, but figuratively. We saw the episode with Phil Robertson, saying that homosexuality was wrong, and boy, they beat the tar out of him. You got Governor Jan Brewer here recently caved in to pressure, because people were talking about passing a law, to deny service to somebody that you wanted to deny service to based on your religious beliefs and religious freedom, exercising your religious freedoms. Destroyed. Didn't happen. Ain't gonna happen. Your enemies are too strong in this, and they're too well placed, and they have already won. The battle is pretty much over. The only thing that is left that is required for them to have the takeover to be complete is your weapons. That's the only thing standing between what America used to be and currently is, and complete chaos and complete socialism and chaos and communism and a dictatorial type society. And that's your guns. That's the only thing standing between them and you right now. And there's only one way that they can get your guns. Right now the Constitution is protecting your guns, where you have a right to bear arms, and the courts seem to be upholding that. And there are lots and lots of guns out there. It's like everybody has one. I mean, the last couple of years with the scares we've had is like everybody and their mother and their sister and their uncle own an AR-15 or a handgun or a shotgun or something. Everybody is armed. And you're not going to be able to legislatively take it away. It's just not going to work. There is only one thing that would work, and that is crisis. Crisis is the only thing that will work to disarm the American people. If there was, I'm not going to be a conspiratorialist in this regard, but if you listen to somebody like Alex Jones or some of these other dudes, they'll tell you, well, there's going to be some mass attack, and they're going to blame it on these right-wing radicals, and they're going to make you public enemy number one, and they're going to persecute you, they're going to disarm you. I suppose that's possible, but it's probably more likely that the economy will simply collapse. And I think it's probably already collapsing very rapidly, and they don't want you to know that. They are not publishing real economic data anymore, period, because they don't want you to know what the true economic data is. It will cause chaos and panic, sell off of everything and draining out your bank accounts. They don't want that. They can't have that. That would be instant chaos. But pretty soon, I think they're not going to be able to stop it. And economic chaos will breed chaos in the streets. And then people will begin to shoot each other for food. And you might have some knuckleheads that decide, well, the conservatives are going to fight against the liberals, and there could be a civil war and people fighting. And a chaotic situation like that is an excellent opportunity for the government to declare martial law. And in order to stop all of the bloodshed, we have to disarm the people. And they will go door to door and take your guns. It's the only way that I can actually see that happening. So, are you going to fight the government when they come to take your guns? I don't recommend it. You'll just die. They're much better equipped than you are. I don't know. Is this system that we're living in worth fighting and dying for? It used to be. I don't know about now, though. Am I giving up and just say, well, yeah, you can have my guns and, send me to a concentration camp? That's fine. I don't really know. I'm going to be relying upon God. I don't believe that prepping and hoarding weapons is going to do anything. You got to have your relationship right with God at this point, because judgment is going to come down because of what the society has become. And the only way you're going to save yourself is by God saving you. You can't save yourself in this situation. So I'll put up the link, as I said, to check out this film. It'll kind of blow your corn box. It'll blow your mind hole. It's really put together pretty well, and it's pretty convincing that we are incredibly screwed. That our enemies have been very, very successful at undermining and destroying the fabric of our society so that it tears itself apart. They don't have to defeat us militarily. They couldn't. It's not possible. But if we destroy ourselves from within, the military doesn't matter. So check it out. I hope you don't think I'm too kooky. That's just my personal opinion. I don't share it very often on YouTube, but I've just felt compelled to, discuss this a little bit with you guys. And, think about it. I would suggest more than anything to just pray and talk to your God and say, yes, we are completely screwed. We have screwed ourselves. We have fallen asleep at the wheel. And one final thing that I will say, protect your children. If you have children in a public school system and it's at all possible, get them out of there. get them out now and begin to teach them at home. It's not that hard. I mean, even if you don't have much of an education, if you know how to read and you can get all the materials to educate your children for free, do it. Teach them what you want them to know, not what these other people want them to know. They are destroying your children. And that's they've been doing it successfully for a long time. Why do you think there are so many mind-blown robot sheeple out there? Because the education system is working wonderfully for them. Get your kids out of there. It's way too dangerous. Way too dangerous for your kids. So this is Israel Epstein giving you a piece of my mind. You can take it or leave it. I hope that you are well, stay well, get on your knees and pray to your God, and hope that by some strange miracle, maybe this place can be saved somehow. If you figure it out, let me know.